Hi, I'm Heather Sims, a real estate broker in the Dallas area, and today I'd like to talk about things that buyers may or may not think are important when they're looking for a home. Buying a home is one of the biggest financial decisions most people will ever make. And honestly, no matter how much research you do, there are always a few things you didn't realize you wanted or needed until you've actually lived in the house for a while, right? As a real estate broker, I have had countless conversations with homeowners after they've moved into their homes. Most of them, of course, absolutely love their homes, but almost everyone has at least one thing they eventually say, I wish I had thought about that before we bought this home. So today, I thought it would be a good idea to share 10 of the most common things homeowners wish they had known before buying a house. Hopefully, if you're planning to buy in the future, these will help you avoid a few not so great surprises, right? The first one. What's really important is how you actually use the space. When buyers are touring a home, they're often focused on square footage, number of bedrooms and bathrooms. But after they move in, they realize it's really about how the home functions. Is there a place to drop backpacks and shoes off when everyone comes in from the garage? Is there enough pantry space? Can more than one person cook in the kitchen comfortably if there are two people who want to cook in the house? And it's a good thing to remember that sometimes a slightly smaller home with a better layout ends up feeling much larger and more functional in everyday life. Number 2, traffic. Does the house back or side or even front to a street? That can seem perfectly fine and could seem quiet on a Saturday afternoon showing. But what about Monday morning at 7:30? Or Friday evening during rush hour? If a home backs to a busy road or is near something like a church or a school or a major intersection, I always encourage buyers to visit at different times of the day. You may be surprised at how different it feels. I recently had some home buyers who were trying to decide between two homes. We'd shown them about 8 overall. One of them was super updated and they loved the finish out, but it sided to a pretty busy street. They chose, and I think wisely, the home that did not side to the busy street. Even though the finishes were amazing, they were smart and they thought long term and chose the other house. Moving on to number 3, natural light. Pictures can be deceiving. I've shown homes that looked bright online but felt really dark in person. The amount of natural light changes throughout the day too, and it has a huge impact on how a home feels. I had a past client who shared with me that she'd suffered from depression over time, and she realized that spaces with natural light were super helpful for her mental health. So when we looked at homes, we definitely were looking for lots of windows and spaces where light just poured in, right? Bottom line, if natural light is important to you, pay close attention to windows and how the light feels throughout the home, throughout the day. Number 4, storage. Closets, linen cabinets, garage storage, attic space. Most buyers don't fully appreciate storage until they actually need it. And here's the thing about storage. As a real estate broker, I can definitely tell you that I've never heard a homeowner say, this home has too much storage. This is an important feature in a home for sure, so it's something to really pay attention to as you're looking at homes. Number 5. The neighborhood matters just as much, maybe more, as the house itself. You could change paint colors, remodel kitchens, replace flooring. You cannot move the house out of the neighborhood. It takes time to drive around, visit the nearby parks, check out the nearby shopping and restaurants. Think about also, do you want an HOA? Whether you'd rather have one or not is a super personal decision. If walkability is important to you, don't just drive the neighborhood. Get out and walk around. Walk to the park. Walk on the sidewalks, see how the neighborhood feels for you. And just remember, you're buying more than a house, you're buying the lifestyle that comes with that house. Number 6, maintenance takes time. That huge backyard may look amazing during showings until it's July in Texas, and then suddenly you're spending every Saturday mowing, trimming, watering, maintaining that beautiful yard. Same goes for pools, elaborate landscaping, large lots. They're wonderful as long as you're prepared for the time and expense that comes with maintaining them. Number 7. Choose a location that fits your life, not just a house that you love. This is a huge one. It's so easy to fall in love with a beautiful house and convince yourself that an extra 20 or 30 minutes in the car every day won't matter. Over time, it usually does. Think about your daily commute for sure. How close you want to be for work is super important. It's also important how close you are to family, to your church, to your kids' schools. What about activities that you do every week? Remember, you're not just buying a home, you're choosing where you'll spend a huge part of your life. A house can be remodeled, the location cannot. Number 8. Don't overlook the little conveniences, things like a built-in shelving unit in the living room, a laundry room that's connected to the primary closet. I love that feature. A garage that's deep enough for your big old truck, a covered patio that you'll actually use, a pot filler in the kitchen. Sometimes these everyday conveniences end up making you happier than the fancy upgrades that you initially fell in love with in that home. Number 9. Every home has compromises. This is probably a big lesson for a lot of homeowners when they're starting to look at houses. There is no such thing as a perfect house. Every buyer has to decide which features are must-haves and which ones they're willing to compromise on. The goal is not perfection. It cannot be. The goal is finding the home that's the best fit for your life. I tell my buyers if a house is an 8 out of 10, it could very well be a keeper. If it's a 9 out of 10, it's literally like a unicorn and is definitely a keeper. But the perfect home doesn't really exist, and you will likely have to compromise on some things. And finally, number 10, buy the right home for the next chapter of your life, not just for today's chapter. I always encourage my buyers to think ahead. Will this home still work if your family grows? What if you begin working from home? What if your parents need to move in one day? How about when your kids leave for college? Thinking just a few years into the future, 5 or 10, can really help make a decision on a house that you'll still be in love with long after moving day. At the end of the day, buying a home is exciting, and I don't want this video to scare anybody about any of this. It's simply about helping you ask better questions, think critically in making one of the biggest purchases of your life. Because the more you think through these things ahead of time, the fewer surprises you'll have after you move in. If you're getting ready to buy a home and you'd like someone to help you think through these factors and you're in the Dallas area, I would love to help you out. And if you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to subscribe and let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. What's something you wish you'd known before you bought your home? I always love hearing about everyone's experiences that watch these videos. And I would love to see you next week on another edition of All Things Real Estate. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye. All things real estate.